We're live. It's the 8 a.m. Coffee Podcast. I'm Asher, and that's Paul over there with the lanai hat. And we have a special guest today. Lisa, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys? It's early.
It's
This is
early.
early, way too early.
Is this
Yeah,
early
like
for you?
I get up like between 6:30 and 7 every day, but I'm not a morning person. So every morning is too early.
Oh, so it's a begrudgingly getting up in the
Oh
morning.
yeah,
Okay.
yes. Children and animals will do that too. They make you get up when you don't want to.
Yeah. Mine perch at the door, waiting to come out. Like they're like they're at a gate at the Kentucky Derby. Like they wait because I don't let them get up to a certain time. So they're not allowed to come out of their rooms. I don't care what that makes me look like as a parent, by the way. So,
That's
No, I did
anyways,
that when I
frightening.
did that when the kids were little. Mine are teenagers now. I can't get them out of the bed.
yes, that is true. Hold on, I am just sharing this really quickly.
Same.
Uh,
Oh, I will say real
same.
quick I have a mug that says the Milkers Egg Roll Crawl. I will explain very briefly. My wife's last name is Miller, and mine is Coker. So, not legally or officially, but we put our names together as Milker. And a great design guy at Logan Hankins in Knoxville made this for us for her birthday last year so that we could go on an egg roll crawl in Knoxville.
Are there that many good egg rolls in Knoxville?
I think there are, but what happened was it was last February where it rained for like 3 days straight and our basement flooded, so we never actually got to do it. And now this is all happening, so it'll have to wait just a little bit longer. It's a tragic story, but it's a really cool mug. So
You could do a curbside egg roll crawl.
we could. That's a great idea. I think
Yeah,
this place over here, it's a Vietnamese place, Beta Saigon, is probably the best egg roll that I've ever had. Have you all
is
had any good experiences with egg rolls?
is lumpia? Do you consider that an egg roll? I don't. I think I'm butchering the pronunciation
No,
of
that's
it.
correct. Because half of my family's Indonesian, so they make lumpia uh, pretty regularly, and it is amazing. And yes, to your question.
I'm more of a spring roll fan than
Mm,
an egg roll fan. So
This, I like how we get into an egg roll conversation right now, straight off the bat.
absolutely.
Well, Lisa and I have known each other for a couple of years now. Several, more than a couple. I
it
always
was
say a
the
couple.
Thanksgiving. It was
It's
at
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving where we
Oh, I,
served all those firefighters.
I
Remember
forgot
how
that's
that went?
how we met.
Mhm.
Um, do you remember when the Great Smoky Mountains fire happened, Asher?
Yes, yeah,
It was
recently.
pretty big news.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's probably 5 years ago now.
4, 5? Yeah, it was four.
Yeah.
No, you know what? We lived in this house, so it couldn't have been more than four.
Hmm.
Okay. So we ended up, our church volunteered to feed the firefighters, the firefighters that were flying in because it was Thanksgiving Day,
Gotcha.
and um, I was all by myself on Thanksgiving, which happens when in blended family. There's years that we don't have any kids, and I was a single man at the time, and I was like, hey, why don't I go up and help out and all that, and I think there were about 18 turkeys and two people trying to butcher them. And when I say butcher, I don't mean that in the nice way where they're cutting up meat. And I I went I walked in, I legitimately turned around, went back to the car, grabbed my bag of knives because everyone carries a bag of knives on them, and came back in, and I don't know what kind of knife magic I had that day, but I'm pretty sure I cut up 16 birds to other people's one that
Yeah,
day.
I think it was like 10 minutes flat. You were,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
you
was like,
you
I was,
amazed people that day.
I was like, just just slice the breasts off, like, and I was just
Yep.
pulling turkey breast off and just like cutting into joints. And anyways, once you do it repetitive, you know how to do it. But And then here I am walking around talking to people I've never met before with, I'm pretty sure, turkey from my eyeballs all the way down to my knees, because I did not care about a mess at that point, because it was, I mean, they were legitimately driving in to come and eat. So it was pretty cool. And that's
300 firefighters. So it was just chaos, mass chaos.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's cool, though.
Yeah, we met firefighters from Alaska, South Dakota, California. Like, they came from everywhere. It was actually really cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang.
And then since then, I'll name drop her son works with me, and then Matt gets whatever burger or sandwich. Her husband gets whatever I want to make him, because they like to say, just make whatever, and that's great. But Lisa's profession, I'm allowed to talk about this, right? Yeah. You're still doing GBB, right? Yes.
Yes. So I work for
her.
Faith Promise, and I do. I have two jobs, because everyone at a church usually does.
Amen.
At little known secret, I have. I do local missions, mostly school partnerships, and then all of our kind of congregational serving events in the community. I coordinate those. And then my other half of the job is I am a campus pastor for Bledsoe and Morgan County Correctional Institutions.
Nice.
So I go into men's prisons, and I'm their pastor. Yeah, it's a little weird.
I was wondering if God
But it's
behind
really
bars.
cool. Like, it's really...
I was wondering if that was like right outside of the bar in the back alley somewhere, or if that was something else. So I really appreciate the explanation. It makes sense
That's
now.
a ministry, I'm sure.
Right. For the pub.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
I know somebody who actually did that. So
Right.
they said they were ministering to people in the bar and got drunk every night. So yeah.
Right. When I used to work at a church, one of my many hats, and of course there were always two jobs at a time. One was connections director, and it sounds similar to what you're saying with like coordinating and like getting volunteers and stuff. Not what anyone thought would be in my wheelhouse, but I really, really enjoyed doing things like that. It was cool.
Mm-hmm. I always thought I'd want to be a party planner or an event planner. So I just do it for a church, and it serves other people. So it kind of works out well.
Yeah, that's cool.
Did you really think you wanted to be a party planner?
In my 20s, yes, I thought it'd be super exciting. And then I went to some events. I've actually planned some pretty large, like, fundraiser kind of events, and where you're, 100 people at a black tie affair and raising a couple $100,000. And then I realized, no, I don't like it that much. So I can event plan for a church, which is always fun. And I've done a few, of course, school fundraiser, carnival kind of things.
Yeah. Now, and that's awesome, and I love that. But on a personal side, I have been reading your daily journal of the corona. Like, it is great.
I know.
What kind of craziness are we not hearing about that you can say in public that's going on?
Yeah. Let me see.
In one day, your power went out and your water went out, and the hot water heater blew.
We still don't have hot water. 4 weeks later, we still don't have hot water.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So we are fortunate at first world problems. Yeah. We're lucky enough that we have a pool house kind of shower next door to us. So we just have to go next door to shower.
Okay.
So we do have hot water to shower, but it is like a trek, which teenage children don't trek for a shower. So they'll go days. Like, Paul, you should see Nathan. His hair it's disgusting. So we do have a hot shower, but no hot water, like dishes, clothes, nothing. We have tried everything under the sun. The gas guy was out yesterday. We finally bit the bullet. We're having to order a new hot water heater. The problem is that we live in a house that's weird. So every time we have someone come over to fix something, their first words have always been, wow, I've never seen anything like this in 30 years. And it's like, of course you haven't. So that's what happened. Our hot water heater also feeds two of our furnaces. So we also have no heat.
Oh gosh.
So, which is fine, except for like days like last night and yesterday where it was like 32 degrees outside.
Yeah.
I am sleeping in like 8 blankets because it's 57 degrees in my room. So that's been fun. All my kids, they come upstairs because the basement's freezing where they sleep. And like Andy comes upstairs with like this hoodie, another hoodie, a blanket, earmuffs. I'm like, my poor kids. It hardens them.
Yeah, there you
so
go.
I don't really care.
I
Yes,
don't.
no, our house is crazy. I don't know why, but our house is crazy. Every day something happens.
I would love to see Nathan, but there is zero shot that he is up at 8 o'clock in the morning. I can guarantee you that one right now. So
No, he's not awake ever before noon. Noon's pushing it.
and the only time he gets up before that is if I have him scheduled. So
Yes.
we're good.
Yes.
One of my students yesterday was like, "Hey, do you wake up early in the morning?" I don't know why he was asking, and I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I wake up at about 6:45 or 7 every day, like just naturally. I'm also not like a super morning person, but I just naturally get up then with dogs and stuff." And he was like, "Oh my gosh, like why are you doing that? Like nobody has to wake up early right now." And I was like, "I would just be up anyway. It doesn't matter if I stayed up till like 2 in the morning. It just happens."
It's actually true. When you get older, you do sleep less.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. It sucks a little bit. Not you, Paul. I don't feel good when if I sleep longer than 7 hours, I don't feel good.
Oh, really?
And it's not because I don't want to. Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
It's just old age.
usually I
I'm older than both of you.
I usually only sleep 4 or 5 hours a day. So like that's like if I sleep more than 5, I usually get like, if you get too much sleep, like you feel, that's how it is.
Yeah.
And I'm usually a
Yeah.
morning I'm a super like chipper, happy, up in the morning, like ready to go, unless I kick a coffee table or I run into 8 children as soon as I walk out the door. Because you all are talking, or at least Lisa's talking about her kids don't get up till later. Like there's one that would wake up at 5:30 every day if I let him, every day. And I'm like, dude, go to bed. Also, like, they haven't left the house. And Asher, this is where I envy you just a little bit. They haven't left the house. Now Lisa's left and came back though.
Uh-huh.
She like gained children back to her house, which I love.
Yeah.
I love her kids. They are awesome children. Now, of course, I can say that because all children are awesome when they don't live with you.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did. We were supposed to be almost empty nesters and only have one kid at home. And somehow we managed, even before quarantine, to have an extra kid from Haiti, a 21-year-old who took a year off college, and now the 19-year-old who's back from college. So now we have 4 children instead of 1. We're not really sure how we went the opposite direction, but
I remember at that age,
It's
like
working.
eating a lot. Is that the case for them?
yes, yes. And this quarantine thing is killing me because like we have a ton of activities at night. My
Uh-huh.
kids play my girls play softball. Nathan used to play lacrosse. Matt travels all the time. I always have like church stuff at night. So we do maybe one family meal a week,
Mhm.
maybe. And I'll fix dinner other nights, but it's just like, hey, grab and go or
Yeah.
something frozen. It's really easy. It's like pasta, whatever, something easy. And now I don't even know what to fix anymore. Like I'm done. I am officially gone through everything I know how to cook. I have made stuff up and I'm just 3 weeks. I'm done. I don't know what else to fix. We're going to start on the repeat.
Right.
This is why Lisa is jonesing for me to reopen the truck.
Oh my gosh, my
it is
13-year-old.
completely selfish. It is completely selfish.
Last night, Paul, you were on one of the Zoom calls and you were cooking and Charlotte looks over and she goes, can I go stay with Paul? Because like he can cook. Like, can I go stay with them? Because our daughters are friends. And I'm like, no, Paul's not cooking for you, Charlotte.
So let me tell you about last night in cooking. We never have marriage miscommunication. at all, right? That never happens. Or is it just in my house that marriage miscommunication happens? um, so Ashley makes chicken fajitas, and they're amazing. Okay, and with so many different kids, there's so many picky and all that. These are though they're very, very like she makes them, she cooks it, and but the prep work is a lot of work. And granted, we talked about it. I'm faster with a knife than she is, so. But usually we use one big pack of chicken. You know what I'm talking about, like the chicken breasts that are the giant pack of chicken breasts. Mm-hmm. And we never have any leftovers, but in our house, leftovers just mean lunch. Like it's easy to say, all right, hey, just make we have meal prep container boxes that are plastic. You can buy them at any restaurant supply. We make lunches and they just take it and throw it in the microwave for 45 seconds, a minute, and they've got a hot lunch and we don't have to work, right? So she says to me, just because I was like, how much chicken do we need to do, right? Well, I heard her say all the chicken, but she said all of the chicken in one and then add 2 more breasts. But I heard all the chicken, like, because I heard the first 4 words and then went on.
You mean like all the chicken that you have?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So there are, I want to say post-cooked weight. Like, have you ever watched a TV show, like a cop show, where they pull out vacuum sealed baggies of illegal contraband? So there's 2 bags like that. And like, if you can't see my hands, they're about 2 feet. 2 bags of cooked fajita chicken in our refrigerator, vacuum sealed currently.
Nice.
And she cooked chicken for an hour and 45 minutes nonstop yesterday. And I'm like, why did I do that? Anyway, I don't know. I don't know where that goes, and I don't know if you guys take it and go anywhere. But I had to tell people that, I cooked a lot of chicken last night. Oh, I didn't cook any of it, actually. I cooked none of it. I sat on a Zoom call because I believe that I will never turn off my video camera when I'm on a Zoom call in any kind of meeting.
Oh, gosh.
And so I cleaned a fryer on this call. Like walked around with the laptop. I mean, and I'm on my laptop, like walking around. I cut chicken and did dinner, talked to my kids.
And one of the Zoom calls that I was on with him was kind of like a serious, like leadership. Like everyone's like, woo,
I'm on the board of.
You see everyone's face and they're all attentive, and then all you see is Paul this far away, like doing this the whole time. Like,
by the way, I'm on the board of directors. Like, I'm on the board of directors of that.
That's okay. I was like, I'm like, get rid of your video, Paul. And he's like, why aren't you on video? And I was like, because I'm multitasking. I'm doing 3 other things at once.
Right.
And I'm like, whatever. I don't care. What are they going to do? Fire me? So I hope Jonathan's watching right now.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure he'll be
Jonathan,
on.
it was a good call.
No, listen, like Jonathan knew what he was getting when he signed up. So let's not act like he didn't know. Come on now.
Okay, so when I was watching that and all these people, which they were really good people, it was a good panel, good people talking.
Great.
It was really interesting. It was good. But they kept saying, well, I wrote a book and it was blah, blah, blah. And I wrote a book and it was blah, blah, blah. That's what I texted you. And I was like, I'm writing a book. And you're like, what's it about? I don't know. Like, I just feel the need to write a book. I don't know why. I don't know if I make it serious or not. I don't know.
Well, I think if you did write a book, and this is very serious, first of all, I'd buy it. I don't know if it would be, I would assume it would be good. I would buy it just because I like you. But I would
It's
actually
a nice
read
vote
it.
of confidence there.
I know, thanks.
Funny though. That's the thing. Is like it's very so what I really like about Lisa is she's really funny, and then with moments of intensity through the same conversation. Mm-hmm. So and it's all very serious usually, and meaningful points and everything. But well, it's just like last night, she made sure I wasn't going to go kill somebody, so we're good. jokes aside, I wasn't really going to kill anybody for anybody that's watching.
We don't know. You had the knives with you. Like,
No. Hey, when
Listen,
somebody goes after your kid,
now I got a
no.
ticket for carrying a concealed weapon without a permit because of my bags and knives one time. So, no, I got one of my many stories from my 20s. I got pulled over on the way back from Blackberry. I worked at Blackberry Farm up in Walland, but I lived in Knoxville, and I was driving home, and I'd worked like 18, 19 hours that day, and I was tired. So I was swerving because I was exhausted, and I knew I was exhausted. And I actually pulled over into a hospital parking lot to take a nap in my car. Sounds really crazy, but, I'd rather sleep than. And a cop pulled up. A cop had been following me, and he turns his lights on. And for those of you who don't know my sarcasm level, it was much larger earlier in life. And he pulls me over, and he goes, "Have you been drinking tonight?" And I was like, "Nah, man." I was like, "Dude, I just work." I'm in a chef coat with a BlackBerry logo on it. Like, I'm like, dude, I just worked a really long shift, and I was tired, and I was pulling over so I didn't get a ticket. Were you looking at the Zoom call? Anyways, I think he was trying to see if he'd go to the bathroom. He pulls up, and he talks to me, and he goes, "So I'm going to search your car." And I'm like, "All right, cool. I don't care. I don't have anything." Right. And he says, "Do you have any weapons or anything I should know about?" And I said, "Well, I got a bag full of knives in there." And he looks at me, and he goes, "What for, son?" And I won't use all the words that I did, but I looked down at my uniform, and I looked at him, and I was like, "Because it's part of my uniform. It's just the same reason you have a gun." Like I'm supposed to carry them. And then I'm pretty sure I called him either stupid or something like that in the middle of this entire thing. And needless to say, I got a ticket, and here we are today. So yay, Blount County. So
considering everything else that was in your 20s, you're lucky it was a ticket.
It was the time before. It was the time before I got a ticket. It was the next interaction with the police was not as how do you say, nice in my life. So, do you know about that, Asher?
I don't think so.
That I went to jail for like 5 weeks and had like a $1.8 million bond and almost went to jail for 15 years.
No. I knew you've done something. Like, nobody just has a mannequin like in the background of their shot and leaves it there.
Listen, this is also, shockingly enough, not the first mannequin I've ever owned in a house, by the way.
That's not shocking. It's not shocking at all after all these stories.
No, I ran a casino out of my house in the fort for like a year. So,
it's kind of awesome, though.
Yeah, not really. No, so
you make some money.
Yeah, really.
Lisa asked about the mannequin. The mannequin, her name is Maud. She has one deflated breast because they threw her on the ground and it broke, but it's like got this little head on it and like no legs. But I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's from Ashley's Online Market. It's what they used to put the clothes on,
yeah.
Take pictures of it. And that's what that is. I would have to ask her what it was. But and then we had a mannequin that lived at our lake house that was like would lay down, but my dad would change its clothes because he wanted people to think that there was somebody there. Right. But like he used to get phone calls from from people that were like, "Hey, you got some like homeless guy sleeping on your porch. He's covered in snow." But his name was Sam. We had a name for him and everything. Listen, my dad collected a lot of like unusual things. We actually have a piece of petrified wood from the house that when he passed away that he lived in, and that weighs at least 500 pounds. So yeah, it's a huge piece of petrified wood that I'm pretty sure.
What are you doing with it?
Currently, it's sitting in the carport. I don't know what to do with it. I just know that it's probably important. You ever
Hmm.
like there are things that I took that I didn't know if they were important or not, so I just took them,
Hmm.
and then I'm pretty sure I left behind the things that were actually important. So we did go through every nook and cranny of that house and shoebox and everything because he was a peculiar man, and it could have like he could have had like cash floating around. So
Could have been like built
so
into the walls or something.
no, not built into the walls. He wouldn't have done that.
Oh, okay.
He would have just left it in a shoebox or something.
Yeah, yeah. That's fun.
So,
Here, I
anyways,
did just see that Jonathan is on the call. Do you all want to say all those things that you said about him earlier?
uh, tell Jonathan that I apologize profusely if it makes him feel better for cooking during his Zoom panel discussion yesterday. But
Yes,
you know,
and I left early. Sorry, I had to jump on another Zoom call, so I bailed out early.
Well, I
I'm not sure
are
when
you?
it ended.
Yeah.
what's that?
What did you say, Asher?
Oh, I was gonna say, he sent me the invite for something for yesterday. I'm assuming it's the same thing, and it went
It was.
until 5:30. But I was
It was
teaching lessons,
okay.
and then I was done at 5 and just kept practicing. I was teaching piano lessons, and forgot to join. So I'm also sorry, Jonathan.
No, it was really good.
It was good.
Yeah, he's got that leadership conference in the fall, and just doing a
Yeah.
weekly call. It had been discussed actually doing that before BC, before the Rona,
Hmm.
and I guess everybody had some time on their hands, so they followed through. It's really cool. There's some good corporate guys and everything.
Mm.
Um, you know, ha- it's weird owning small business
Yeah.
to listen to guys with giant companies
Right.
Mhm.
talk. It's actually really cool though. It is neat to go. You know what? I own a small business, but at the same time, they're all struggling with the same thing that we are,
Just like
just on
different
a larger
scale.
scale,
Yeah.
right? Um, I don't envy the position though. I will say that. I've been in large corporations and large businesses, and to go, whoa, I just affected the lives of thousands of people by shutting down is different than
Yeah.
going, I just affected the life of a college kid that lives at his parents' house. That's the
Right.
truth and the reality of the situation.
Hmm.
Of course, if Nathan needed anything, he knows he can call me. So, but it is very, very true to go, hey, I'm assuming Nathan's okay, and I
Yeah,
can
he's
put a
fine.
name with it, I'm
He's
like,
We
fine
need
I
to
mean,
with
I
an
find a
eye
guess,
house,
roll.
but he's fine.
Yeah.
um, but, and I meant like he's being provided for.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Then going,
yeah,
hey,
he is.
1,000 families, I hope your kids can eat tomorrow. Those are
Yeah.
two different.
So my husband helps run a very, very large company, and he's done that for a long time. And let me tell you, the first time he had to lay people off, or close an entire plant, it wrecked him, like absolutely wrecked him. So it was pretty bad. And
Yeah.
even now, they've cut the top executives payroll and bonuses and stuff just to not have to fire people and or close things. So they have furloughed several plants. They're obviously closed, but because they're not essential. But yeah, it's definitely, this thing is going to impact them for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, most people, it'll impact them for a little while, and there's some small businesses that'll suffer, but I think they'll bounce back faster. The
Mhm.
larger companies will not.
Yeah.
So the auto industry, it may never bounce back.
Right. I think Paul, you had mentioned something about like, uh, I don't know, like auto sales just being like different and the percentages and stuff. I don't know. Can't remember exactly, but excuse me. But yeah,
Yeah.
I was just gonna say I feel so blessed to be able to do what I've been doing and continue doing it virtually, even though it's super weird and I'm finally like used to it after 3.5, 4 weeks. But and I definitely do want to get back to like in person lessons, like being able to see someone and kind of see their technique on drums and piano, especially. It's like, I want to make sure you don't get arthritis here in like 30 years with the way that you're practicing. But yeah, it's been cool. I feel kind of bad about it.
Yeah, obviously I read up on the plans to open up the economy yesterday.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of steps that have got to be taken. I mean, it's 6 weeks minimum, right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To even anything being close to being open. But no, the auto economy. I have some inside information, basically just because of family situations and stuff. So I won't like call out whatever.
Sure,
but
sure.
I mean, average. We'll just say the average auto like store. So like rolling down the road, auto dealership sells between 80 and 100 cars a week, right? That's about the average. They're doing between, like, the lowest I've heard is 3.
Whoa.
And the highest I've heard is like 7 or 8. And that's,
I mean, no one's driving, so no one's thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also found out that they had issued warnings and citations in the city and county of Knoxville for non-essential businesses being open.
Really?
And one of them happened to be, and we had an appointment with one of those businesses because I actually thought that they were essential. So they were like, no, we're just seeing people on appointment basis. You can come in and whatever. And then I read and I was like, they totally got a ticket for being open.
Dang.
So, well, they didn't get a ticket. They got a warning.
Oh,
But,
okay.
Yeah.
yeah,
We're not as bad. There are other states that are actually like really like being harsh about the ticketing and the closing and the warning and the fines. And,
Sure.
like neighborhoods are. Some woman had a birthday party. I don't know if you saw that on social media. She had a birthday party, and it was like a kid's birthday party, huge family. I think it was in Chicago, and it was like 25 people got together for this thing. And I mean, it was everybody got like a $500 fine, like everybody.
Whoa.
It was crazy.
There goes your stimulus, people.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
yeah,
stimulus.
we're not getting stimulus. Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah. Speaking, and I'll talk about the stimulus all day long. I mean, I put something out on social media that was, hey, if you're getting a stimulus, take care of your family first. Like, don't get me wrong.
There's a lot of people saying that. Yeah, no, there's a lot of people. Dave Ramsey came out with this big, huge thing. It's like, don't be stupid. Don't go. You haven't paid a mortgage for a couple months, and you're not paying utility bills for a couple months, and no one can evict you. But you know what? In 4 or 5 months, they're not going to be nice.
Right.
They're going to be like, okay, give me 3 months of your mortgage. And you're going to be like, I can't. I bought a car. Because cars are really cheap right now.
Right,
So, yeah.
right. It's weird
And
having
you have
a
no
full tank
payments
of
for
gas for
a year
like a
and a half.
month straight. What'd you say, Paul?
Yes.
And you have no payments for like a year and a half if you finance a car right now.
Whoa.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I know.
We're like about
We were going to wait for I want a new car. And my husband's like, no, you don't need one. I'm thinking now is the time.
Yeah, really.
saying.
We're about to pay one off,
He
so
doesn't
that would
know
be
that.
terrible to like have 2 paid off cars within the past year and then get a new one. So I won't talk
we
to
don't
my
have
wife
any.
about that.
Yeah, we don't have any car. We have 1, 2. Hold on, one, including the broken down cars that are sitting there. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars. 6 cars. They're all paid for though.
Nice. That's awesome. Dave Ramsey would be
couple just
very proud,
couple
right?
sit there. Yeah.
Well, to take it more, not that this has been negative or anything, but to take it toward the positives of the whole quarantine thing, like, Lisa, what's been the most fun thing that's happened, even in the midst of all of the heat breaking?
Fun thing. You know what? Okay, so we move a lot.
Okay.
So since I've been married in 1996, I got married in 96, yeah, 96, we have moved from Knoxville, Chicago, Phoenix, Minneapolis, Nashville, Seattle, here. And then twice, a couple of those places, we lived in 2 different houses. So here we lived, so it's our second house. We've lived in Knoxville for 10 years, and this is our second house. Lived here for 3 years.
Gotcha.
Normally, between my husband traveling and my kids' schedules and obviously church, we don't have time to like clean closets and organize stuff or anything. So honestly, the most fun we've had is we got a dumpster last week and we filled it. We've cleaned out every garage, every closet, everything. We have just cleaned house. So that's fun for me
Yes.
because things are finally actually organized and you can walk into some rooms,
Right.
which is very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
So that's been the most fun for me.
yeah, for sure. I mean, we've
Sad, a little sad, but
I don't think it is though, because I mean, we've like Paul and I have had some communication with people who are like we know these people are really creative types like within their job, but they haven't been able to go to that place and do that thing, and they feel sort of like, you know, just like trapped in your own home, and it's hard to do things. And I've had a similar experience even here in the studio. Like, I'll admit, for the first week and a half, it was just a mess. Like, there were clothes, because the studio's attached to the laundry room, just clothes all over the couch, because I'm doing everything over video, so I can have a mess over here and have a clean space here. But then actually like taking a day to organize everything was like, I feel so good now. So
yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
yeah.
And
yeah.
then the second thing is, this probably tells you a little bit about my family because we're super excited about it. We are going through the Avengers movies from beginning to end
Nice.
in order. Yes. So last night was Guardians of the Galaxy, and I think tonight is Guardians of the Galaxy 2. So it's been fun. I don't know why, but my kids are getting along, which my kids are pretty, like, my kids are good kids.
Yeah.
Like Paul said, they're pretty good kids, but they like their own space. We all have, all five of us have type A personalities in some form or another, all of us. And so that tends to grind on each other's nerves when we're not on the same page. So the fact that for 3 weeks we've been on the same page almost every day and really haven't had any blowups has been quite the shock.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. It really has been. We've been, my family was in a weird place before we got to Corona, just for a variety of reasons. And this has actually settled us down. So for my family, Corona's been really good. I sounds weird to say that,
Yeah.
but we're actually doing better now than we were 3 months ago.
Yeah. That's really cool.
So I know. Now, another couple weeks and we'll be done.
Be like, get away
Paul,
from
you better
me.
open the truck because my kid's got to get a job.
Oh, there's a
Not
plan.
with you, it's with Walmart. Okay.
There's a plan. There's a plan.
And then the 19-year-old, college is done in 2 weeks. She's online and she's getting a job. And I told
Yeah.
her, and it's not with Lanai, so don't pull that.
Who? 13?
Annie.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
Annie? oh,
Yes.
yeah. I employ all of Lisa's kids basically because I won't hire my own. So I'm like, no.
And Charlotte can babysit or something. I don't know, but we've got to do something for
Yeah.
the summer.
Yeah.
You could give it a time limit. You could do like 3 months at Lanai, and then you have to go find something else. Can I come work at Lanai maybe?
I think we were supposed to do that with Nathan. That was going to be a summer thing. And
Oh,
then he
gotcha.
was potentially going back to
And then-
college. And then,
and then
he decided
somehow-
not to go
And
back
somehow
to
he
college.
decided not to go back to college.
Yeah. I don't know who may have helped him with that one.
I'm-
No, actually, not going back to college was a blessing for him.
no,
And for us. Because then we got the Haitian kid and Sam, and Nathan has been beyond super helpful with him.
no. Straight up on the not going back to college thing. I did not tell him what to do.
I know you did. I know you did.
I let him talk through his feelings and then said, you got to figure it out, man. So
Yes.
like
He still has to.
Like-
Can we work on the next phase? Can you help him figure out the
now,
next phase?
now I will tell him, I told him flat out, if you're not going to go and be dedicated, don't waste your parents' money. I did
Well,
say,
and you know what? The funny
I
thing
did-
is that that's what,
I did say
that's what
that.
finally got him. Because
Yeah.
I said the same thing to him, and I was like, I would rather not pay for you to be at a school that you don't want to be at. And I think that was a wake up moment for him because he was so worried about disappointing us that I was like, Nathan, I'd be way more disappointed than to waste all of this money because he was at Lee University, so it was not cheap. I was like, I would be more disappointed in you going down there and failing. And I'm not disappointed at your failure. I'm disappointed that we just blew all this money.
Sure.
So
Sure.
yeah. So that actually helped him.
That's really cool. I mean, just to hear that you all have that communication, it makes me think back to like when I was about to start at UT. My dad had asked me like, "Where are you thinking you want to go to college? Like, what do you want to do?" And I was like, "I have no idea." And he was like, we really need to like talk through this and figure it out. So I very sarcastically, because I, like Paul, was way more sarcastic back then, told him, I'll set aside one day, one 24-hour period, and then I'll let you know. I'll think about it all day. And he didn't like that very much, but I did do it. And we went to MTSU and checked it out, and I was like, I don't know. We went to UT, and what was really cool was I went through the jazz program over there and did with a focus on drum set. And this drummer who I talked to was like, hey, if you want to play, you should just come here. So I was like, okay, let's do it. Because MTSU is more like music business, but it was cool that it happened within just a 24-hour period, like from cold to hot, like, okay, I'm going to do this thing. And then it took 8 years to get my undergrad. So,
yeah. And then I was in my college story is I was in that weird place where it was you have to go to college to be something kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
I think we were all told that.
Yeah. Well, and I had gotten I'm one of them smart kids. You may not believe it or not. But I had a full academic ride.
That's awesome.
And Dad was like, that's where you're going to school. I mean, and here's what's crazy is my dad had set aside college money for me. I was an only child. My dad was pretty well off, and no denying that. But I asked him about my college fund. Like, I think I was like 27 or 28. I was like, hey, you still got that hanging around? And he was, you remember that cruise and like 3-month vacation I took? That was your college money. Now,
Incredible.
I will say this. UT at the time was $700 a semester. And then like total with room, books, and board, it was like $1,400 or $1,500 a semester. It was like $3,000 a year for everything.
I remember that.
And that was
when I
books,
applied to get
tuition.
my master's there, it was like $4,000. Yeah,
Wow.
$4,000
Yeah.
a year in state.
Wow.
And so, but he was like, nah, they're paying for it. Guess where you're going to school? You know, I will say this though. I went to I thought I wanted to be a photographer. So I went to the Art Institute of Atlanta for a grand total of 6 weeks in the summer. Hated it. And then really cool. I wanted to be a doctor. At least I thought I did, following footsteps. And my dad he was like, dude, you hate this. Like, why are you doing it? Like, he's like, really, what are you doing? Like, you hate doing this. You've cooked your whole life. Like, just go be a chef. Like, that's what you really want to do. Go do it. He was like, first of all, if you think physicians make money, we don't make it until you're like 50, 55. Like, you're still paying off all these crazy loans. And like, he's like, you get into residency, you're making like 35 grand a year. Like, he was like, you're not
Working
rolling
28
in it.
hours a day.
Yeah. He's like, you're not getting it unless you either own it or you are later in life after everything's paid off. And he said, and then, the curve catches up. And I don't want to talk about curves, but he did use that as an analogy. And he was like, I don't care what you do. Like, just go be a good human. Of course, like 2 years before that, he was like, Paul, really? So,
Yeah. Don't get arrested. You should have.
don't have people try to collect from cops. That is not a very good advice. Okay.
So I don't know, because I remember you said this night. I don't know if you know. I went to Vanderbilt. I was the first person in my entire family to go to college, and I went to Vandy, and I went there majoring in chemistry.
Oh.
With a minor in math. And somewhere during the middle of my sophomore year, I realized I didn't want to do that. So I stuck with a minor in chemistry, got a degree in math and a degree in social psychology.
Wow. Tell me a little more about the degree in math, because the only other person I know who has a degree in math, I know we all know him, is Petrowski.
Yeah.
What was that like? I mean, I'm assuming the classes were difficult, but I'm also assuming that you enjoyed them.
Yes. I love math. My brain thinks in numbers. It thinks in graphs. It thinks like my brain just works that way. Like, I can't teach math very well because I can't explain it to you. I just get it.
Gotcha.
And not all math. Like, everybody has specialties in math. So there are certain kinds of math I don't like or I don't get. But I don't know why. I just liked it. And so I would just take classes. So I created my own major, which I could do. Now they call it interdisciplinary. So I did that, but they didn't call it that back then. I took psychology, sociology, anthropology, and stats. So I had like 4 stats classes, different varieties of stats. And I combined them all for like a 57-hour major. And that was my social psychology degree.
Gotcha.
And the math, it's just because I had taken so much math between chemistry and all of that I had enough hours.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like my plan to get a math degree, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I think in math. I think that way. It's weird.
That's cool that it sounds like, I mean, just with the subjects that you mentioned, it's very like human-based math. Is that true or?
Yeah. Yes.
That's cool.
Yes. So what I did with that afterwards, I graduated, got married. So really I went to Vanderbilt for my MRS degree because I met my husband there.
Oh, I get it.
Nice. I get it.
So I met Matt there. He went there too, but I didn't go there for that. But anyway, so I graduated, moved to Knoxville. He was here. Started getting my master's in social work at UT, and thank goodness I always felt like a failure because I completely dropped out, but thank goodness I didn't, because now knowing what a social worker does, I would have been in jail, like with you, Paul. Because I would have hit somebody. I would have punched a cop. I would have punched a lady who lost her kid. I don't know. I don't have patience for that. So working in retail to get my master's, I realized I loved retail because it was a combination as a manager, as a combination of numbers and people.
Yeah.
So stuck with retail, moved to Chicago. Matt was getting his MBA from Kellogg while I was there. Still worked in retail, worked for Saks Fifth Avenue, and then I worked for a cosmetic company doing their training. And I had all the Marshall Fields accounts in Chicago. So I loved that part, but my parents are like, "You're making $35,000 a year. Like, what? You're wasting your Vanderbilt degree." I was like, whatever. So then my husband graduates from Kellogg. He's making more than $35,000 a year. So I stopped working, became a stay-at-home mom. And that was kind of the end of that. And then eventually got back I started working for a church. Every church I've worked for, 4 churches now, every church I've worked for, it's been the somebody quit or got fired. And then they're like, "Well, what volunteer is doing all the work now?" And then they point to me, and then they'd go, "Well, do you want a job?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So that's literally every church I've been at. That's how I got my first job. So I've never interviewed for a job.
Yeah.
They just hire me.
Yeah.
It's been weird. Yeah.
That's awesome. The only one I interviewed for was Chick-fil-A. I don't even want to count how many years ago that was now. And then it was the same for me. Like everything else was just like, oh, I know a person. Or my church experience was Dylan Howell, who you all might know over at Faith Promise, had quit this church. And then they're like, "Hey, do you want to help kind of fill some of the shoes from his absence?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess so." For like $50 a week. Sure. I'll do whatever as a 20-something-year-old kid. So that's cool.
Yep. I was there. I don't know if I was there when he left, but I was there when he came back.
Yeah.
For sure. I know. So so then I went back and got my master's in divinity. So now so it's kind of a random mix of things that I do.
Love that word because it sounds so much like you do magic. And I know that's not what it is. I know what it is, kind of.
I don't know. I'm in prisons. Idea. You never know.
Right. Yeah. And the Holy Spirit is a little bit magical, but.
Yeah. Well, it's better than saying I have a master's in global studies and discipleship, because then people go, huh? I'm like, whatever. It's churchy. I got a master's in churchy something.
Yeah. There you go.
So, yeah. All right, Paul, what are you cooking for dinner tonight?
Yeah, I was about to say, you look like you're about to say something. That's why I'm not talking.
No, I was actually, I have things in my head, but they're completely random.
Right.
So
I want to know those things.
No.
Some of them.
First of all, what are we cooking for dinner? What is on the plan tonight?
It sounds like chicken fajitas are on the plan for tonight. In the next month.
Oh, you know what is on the plan tonight? Yeah. Pork for lunch, which needs to go on the smoker Oh, great. Pretty quickly. That we may be having chicken for lunch. We have a family picnic today. Usually it is on Saturday, and I may have dropped the ball.
What day is it?
Don't worry. Friday. Friday.
Okay, chop up your fajita chicken and you've got nachos.
Yeah.
Nachos.
Well, we'll talk about that. Nah, I'm it happen. I'm not worried about this. No, my question actually is it goes back to when you said you graduated from Vanderbilt, and it makes me think of, all right, Knoxville is unlike any other town with a major university in it. And I think that people lose this, that most cities have multiple major universities there, where Knoxville has one. Like Chicago has bazillions of there's Northwestern, there's Kellogg, like
Chicago, DePaul.
University of Chicago, DePaul. Is Marquette there? Or is that's Milwaukee, which is right up the road.
Nashville has 7. Nashville has 7 universities.
Yeah, they have like multiple major universities there, and just Vanderbilt, Lipscomb, and Belmont are like
yeah,
right.
You can
there.
walk. Yeah. Actually, so my best friend graduated from Vanderbilt with a degree in music theory, I think it was, but she took a lot of her music business classes at Belmont.
Mm-hmm.
And she's actually in New York City. She's married to a guy. They write musicals. He has 4 or 5 Tonys.
That's awesome.
So,
that is amazing.
Yeah. You might have heard of Jason Robert Brown and Georgia Stitt.
It sounds
You were
familiar.
the last 5 years.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We're gonna have someone on next week who was working on a musical, so everyone listening, stay tuned. That will be a fun conversation. I have a fun Vanderbilt story too. I was at UT at the time, but I was playing in a band, and we traveled over to play at in Murfreesboro or something. So we had a friend who went to Vanderbilt, and we all got the band got to stay at his place, but he had one of those. I don't know if you stayed in the dorms or the suites or anything, but it was like 4 different kinds of rooms, but then there's like a central kitchen location. So they all stayed in
towers. They're destroying those now.
Oh man. Well, memories.
There's 4 of them. They've torn down 1. Yeah, I was an RA.
Oh, okay. Cool. I'm sure that was also fun. But they were all studying, and they had finals the next day, so they were like, yeah, we can't really hang out and drink and stuff, so we'll have to just kind of chill because we're all studying for these tests. And then they all get a text. There's 4 of them. They all get a text at the same time, and it's like, hey, that final tomorrow has actually been moved to next week. And I just remember they didn't really do this, but it felt like they just threw their papers and got out a bunch of drinks and beer, and it was like, all right, we're partying tonight. So
yes, Vanderbilt was definitely study very, very hard. Study.
Yes.
Very serious, but party super serious as well.
Right.
Really, yes. I probably did the latter a lot more. But at my age, nobody asks me what my GPA was at Vandy. They just are impressed I graduated from there, even though I graduated by the skin of my nose.
Gotcha.
No one cares what anyone's GPA is anymore.
No. Well, the funny thing is that it was bad. It was really bad. And then I go back and get my master's, and I'm like, I have 4.0, and my kids are like, whatever. And I was like, no, this is a big deal. I have a 4.0. So yeah, no, my GPA at Vandy. Well, when I was there, the average GPA, because you say curve, they didn't grade on curves very often then. So sometimes a bell curve. Whoever had the highest grade was the A, even if it was a C minus, it was still an A. So, but the average GPA at Vandy was a 2.8. It was the average. I mean, that was good. That was not a bad GPA.
Right.
So.
That's good to know. It makes me feel better about my UT GPA, which I do remember.
Put it this way, 20 years later, I applied to online. I went to Liberty University, and they're like, well, your undergrad GPA wasn't very good. You're going to have to be on academic probation your first semester. And I was like, okay, that was 20 years ago.
Right.
Give me a little credit. But it was fine.
That's awesome. Yeah, the guy that we stayed with, I remember the next time I heard of him, he was working in Japan on like developing something, and I was like, that tracks with the whole Vanderbilt thing for sure.
Yeah. So my husband went there in arts and science, and he decided he wanted to do engineering. So he went in and sat on the dean's office, and the dean just assumed, because everyone transferred out of engineering because it was so hard.
Yeah.
And he's like, so what do you want to transfer out to? Like, why don't you like engineering? And he was like, I don't know, I'm here to transfer into engineering. And they were like, why? But a little known fact, Paul, you probably don't know this. My husband majored in engineering, and his minor was musical theater.
Oh,
that's awesome.
That is interesting. No,
He has done quite a few musicals.
So let me tell you about the man, the myth, the legend, Matt Cole.
I'm talking about. He's just right. He's right here.
I didn't even know what he did professionally until
nobody knows.
Don't tell me.
Until well, I won't. So, I didn't know what he did professionally probably till 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Like,
do you know
I'm
what
like,
the people in worship, like, you know, all the worship people, do you know what they call them?
No, but all I know is he played. What's that? Jason Bourne. All I know, he travels a lot.
Travels all the time. Yes, always international. He drives a Porsche, which, long story. It's not because we afforded a Porsche. It was a long bonus situation, but drives that, and just nobody really knows what he does. Like, it's kind of hard to explain. I've figured out how to explain it, but his job has changed so much that like nobody believes him. So they just call him Jason Bourne.
That's
hilarious. I think for the
he's not
most
Jason
part,
Bourne. Sorry.
Like, and this is a compliment to him if he's listening.
No,
it's not that I don't care. It's that it didn't matter. Like, honestly, it didn't matter. Like, all I knew is he played bass, and when he sang one day, I was like, he sings, right? This is what it is.
He sang first and
then
cool.
he pulled up to. We were working the truck, and he pulled up one day in the Porsche, and I was like, and Nathan was like, "Oh, Dad's here," and I'm like, no, he's not. I don't see his car, right? And he was like, no, he's in the Porsche today. And I'm like,
so I'll tell you.
And he explained the whole story to me, so I understand what it is.
Okay, so in all honesty, we have 2 Porsches. We also have 2 Kias, so that's fine.
That's what I was looking for, was the Kia.
Yeah, my Kia, Andy's Kia. So we have a Kia, and then we have 2 Kias. So the first Porsche was he got laid off, or furlough. I don't know what they call it. They eliminated all of the top executives' positions. So fat bonus, because they eliminated his position. New job comes around, and they were like, and they were trying to hire him. And so he negotiates pretty well. He gets that from his dad, and he negotiated, hey, I lost my company car, because he did. So we had to give back the car because it was a company car. He's like, I lost my company car. This was the amount they gave me for the car, because we had to go buy the car, but they gave him an amount to go for. So, and it was like $40,000. So it was a pretty nice car. And then the bonus came around, and they were like, okay, well, here's your bonus, from the getting fired, and then here's your bonus for missing your company car. And so between the two, he was like, I'm gonna go buy something I really want. Like, I'm not buying just any car. So he went out and got a Macan. So that was that car. And so that's how we could afford that one. Bought it outright, never paid any. Yeah. So there. And then his dad has this 911, and was gonna sell it. Now it was he's collected cars. Like, my father-in-law, long story short, took a company through a massive lawsuit that they won. It was a patent infringement, and he quit his job as CEO to run the lawsuit. Like, it was that big, and it was like several $100 million. And when they won, he got a percentage of it. So he kind of went nuts and like bought toys. One was like this old Austin Healey. One was this it's 911. It sat there, like, never drove it. So he's like, I'm just going to sell it. And my husband was like, I'll take it. Like, why are you selling it? So he sold it to us for the grand price of $1.
Nice.
Yeah. It is a beautiful car. I am not a car person at all, but it is a beautiful car. So
first time he drove it, it started raining, and no one had ever used the wipers on the car, so we didn't even know if they worked.
Wow.
So we use it. Yeah, we use it. He just went and got new tires on it yesterday. So we like to drive it, but
No,
I mean, we don't
no,
let it sit there.
Yeah.
I legitimately talk to your husband about spam, um, about grills,
Yeah.
about, hey, where are you gonna be? Can I, like he has his own special menu off the food truck. So
Yeah.
like, but no, I mean like, and that's actually just like, and even Nathan shows this quality. Like that's a testament to your family that no one, it's not that no one cares. It's that it doesn't matter kind of thing. And legitimately learning that he does musical theater and that he loves to throw my kid off the tube like it's his own kid makes me like love your family. Because Grace was like,
Yeah.
he tried to throw me off, and I'm like, it's what he's supposed to do. Like,
Yeah.
what are you
We
talking
almost killed your
about?
kid. We're pretty sure at least half of the birthday party had a concussion after tubing. So yeah.
Good with it.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah, no, we're weird. We're a weird family. Like I said, engineer, math, science, like all of us have that brain. But yet, my daughter plays piano, guitar, and sings. Nathan does guitar, drums, teaching himself keyboard, and he sings.
Nice.
I grew up in musical theater, show choir, believe it or not. Took piano for 15 years. And then my husband plays bass and sings. Annie, the only thing Annie plays, she says, is a softball bat. So she does not play an instrument of any kind. Never wanted to, never tried. But
Right.
yeah, so we're weird like that. I don't know why.
Does
Each
your
star.
like your interest in math, did that help with piano, like understanding
Yeah.
the theory and everything?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. And that's the funny thing is that I never made the connection until I got to college. And my best friend used to take all of these languages like German and Latin. And I was like, why are you doing all that? And she was like, because music has a direct relation to math and languages.
Yeah.
She was not good at math, but she was really good at languages. And she's like, it's how it is. And the whole connection between science or math, especially, and music is huge. But a lot of people cut music programs because they don't see it as important,
Yeah.
which I disagree.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, if anything, for me, like it has helped me understand those other subjects a little bit better. Just kind of hearing their relationship and everything. But those were the things I really enjoyed about getting a music degree, were the theory classes, to the point that like, and I'm not a good student, and this isn't me like trying to talk myself up, but the ear training courses were really tough, but I really loved them, to the point that I did like 2 in the same semester, just because like the math of it made sense to me, like putting numbers to notes and things like that. So
yeah,
was
I
super
actually,
fun.
that's how I learned I started piano at age 5
Mm.
and somehow got to the point where I manipulated all of my instructors to play the piece of music for me before I ever started learning it.
Right.
And I just said, I just want to hear what it is. And it got to the point where I can read music really well when it comes to singing, but when it comes to playing, I'm literally still every good boy to F. So when it comes to playing, I learn by ear.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
100% by ear.
That's awesome. Speaking of Every Good Boy Does
I haven't
Fine,
played in forever though.
gotcha. One of my students
Yeah,
started
every-
piano last year, and he said that he learned it. Every good burger deserves fries. So I've started using it that way for,
Oh, I like that one better.
yeah, for everybody.
Yeah. I like that better.
Yeah.
That's better.
Or good burgers deserve
Fries.
fries always for bass clef. Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
better.
Paul knows all about that. I explained a little music theory to him, just rhythmic theory using Legos, which I really want to do again, and do like some kind of live stream and have people ask questions and stuff. Because like the visual of like, here's a whole note, here's quarter notes, half note.
It was before the page was up, and
Yeah.
we probably should do it again, seeing how we are tracking pretty decently
Yeah, absolutely.
on the Facebook
I just found it.
page.
I just
Yeah,
found-
like
Yeah,
we have like over 400 now. Look at that.
that's crazy. I was telling
Oh,
Lisa before
alright.
you hopped on the Skype call and before we went live that it just started as saying it started as a joke is not really fair. It was more like it started very casual with no
Yeah.
real plan for it. Let's just do a long form podcast and talk for an hour, and then morphed into, some cool stuff, I think. So I enjoy it.
Yeah. Lisa is not, I guarantee you this, though, for people that do not know us, I guarantee you that Lisa is not shocked that I deal with none of the details and just show up at all. And then I'm like, sit down, like, all right, everything should be done. Let's go.
That's probably why we get along, because I would rather do all of the details and then just sit there and watch the thing happen.
Yeah, I don't like. I completely trust that everything is being taken care of on the back end, and do not.
Maybe
even,
that's why Nathan and you get along, because Nathan's super detail.
Like, yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. And he likes. You'll like this. All right, not to talk about her family at all, but we have this whole time. Nathan likes to move things on the truck. He likes to put things in different places when I'm not looking, because I'm so on purpose, because I'm so like in flow, and I'm like, what is this doing here? Yeah. Or why is this not here? And he acts like he doesn't, but then I look over and he's like
got him.
And Nathan's got that. Nathan's got that kind of totally out there personality where he will actually convince you you're wrong, even though he did it. He is so good. He will talk you into circles and you don't even know you're circling. And I will never forget, he was probably 5, and my husband just kept back. It was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I was like, Matt, you got to stop. And my husband, these are the words that came out of his mouth: I can't let him win. He was like 5. And I said, honey, by saying that, he just won. Like, don't you even get it? And that's him.
He helped me look for the keys that he moved.
Yeah.
He helped me look for them. He's like, I don't know, they might be up front. Knowing the whole time, he knew where they were.
The first month he spent a little nervous, a little scared of you. Like, he's got to get to know you first and know that, like, you're okay to mess with. And once he knows you're okay to mess with, he is insistent about it. It kills Matt. Because he'll say something and my husband's like, rah! And then he'll look at his face and realize, oh, like, he's totally messing with me. So, yeah.
I have Asher doesn't know me very well professionally in a kitchen.
True.
I very much follow the Gary Vaynerchuk rule of hire quick, fire quicker. So like, yeah.
And yell at him in between.
Listen, I've only yelled at one guy recently.
You're loud. You don't yell. You're loud. You're very intense.
No, in the middle of the rush and in the middle of the chaos, you don't have time to
chit-chat.
I don't have time for people's feelings, and that's not being whatever. But Nathan has very much figured out, all right, I'll just stand over here. Like, he tries to help. Like, listen, he's gotten really good. Like, I will give him that. But he also knows, hey, when it starts to get chaotic, I'm just going to stand over here in my little corner, and I'm just going to let him do what he does. And then, and that's how you know I'm very serious when I'm working, is when I stop talking. But he's bared witness to several things that I've done.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I've never told you this. He actually says things now, especially after he was working a ton on the truck with you. He will say something or do something, and I'll look at him, and he's like, what? And I was like, oh my gosh, you look just like Paul there. And he's like, he kind of gets that, oh, okay, but so you get in the zone and you do your own thing. And the one thing that really makes him feel good, just so you know, is that when you give him a piece of that, because you trust him with that, he's all excited about it. So,
that's really
listen,
cool.
There are times now I walk away and I'm like, you got it, I'm good. But no, funny stories on the truck with Nathan. You should probably have Nathan on to actually talk to him about what it's really like. But like, this lady would not let him go from a conversation, and we had like a line, and I think I looked out the window, and she wasn't in his age range or anything like that. And I was like, if you just ask him for his number, it'll be better, and you guys can talk after. But we got people that we got to take care of. Like, let's go.
That's my
So
favorite thing. I love it.
like
Did he enjoy that, or was he like embarrassed?
he laughed.
Okay.
He was
okay.
like, oh, thank you. You know,
Okay, so what goes on in Nathan's head is not what comes out of his mouth all the time, because he is actually super polite and doesn't want to make people mad. You wouldn't know that in my house, because like that's his goal in the house, is to make someone mad almost every day, just to mess with them. And so he'll tell me a story and I'll be like, okay, so what really happened? He's like, well, I was nice. I didn't want to be mean. So he says that happens a lot.
I'm looking for a
the
correlation here real quick. Lisa, do you all watch Seinfeld at all?
All the time.
I knew it.
I think we have it
I
memorized.
knew it.
Yeah. I mean, not as much now, obviously, but yeah, back when it was on all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
My husband's
Yeah.
a huge fan.
For sure.
There's an agreement on the truck that I'm not allowed to tell people to go to the back of the line anymore. That I have to be like, could you step to the side so the next person can order? I'm not allowed to say, hey, you don't know what you want, go to the back of the line. I'm not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
And I fight it every single time. And Nathan has actually been able to get there before I do and be like, hey, I'm glad you're looking at the menu, but if you could step to the side and let the next person, that'd be great. And they're always like, oh yeah, okay. Where I'm like, hey, yo, you've had 10 minutes to figure out what you want. If you don't know what it is, go to the back of the line and figure it out.
Well, he's young, he's cute, he has good hair, like,
He absolutely is. I put old Blue Eyes up front a lot of events.
Yes. Especially at the Gay Pride Parade.
Yes, I did.
There you go.
I put
He
him
thought that was
front and center. And he went, what are you doing this for? And I was like, what do you think, man? Well, I mean, he's what, 6'2", 6'3"?
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. Good looking kid, like nice, good kid, all that. And
He has the original, well, now it's shorter now, although it's growing out. He used to have that Justin Bieber
the flip
all the time.
Yeah.
Like he has great hair. Yeah. Yeah. By far the best in the family.
10 years ago I could do that, but it's all going away. That's so funny. I asked about Seinfeld because the way you're describing him sounds a lot like the way I operate. Once I'm comfortable with people, is just let's just mess with them and see where we can go with this. So and Seinfeld was
I'm sarcastic.
Yeah.
See, I'm sarcastic. And there's some people that you just can't be sarcastic with. They don't get it.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, well, you're no
that's
fun.
no fun.
I can't talk to you ever again. You can't.
My dad said growing up that if I can't be sarcastic with someone, then I shouldn't respect them. He said it in a sarcastic way too, but there's some level of
it's a little
truth in
true.
here.
I'm sorry. There is some truth to that.
It's
Yeah.
like if I can't mess with a person, I don't want to talk to him.
Well, wait till you have kids. So the first time my kids started mouthing back to me, and it was Nathan, I'll admit it. He's always mouthed back to me. He'll tell you about the time I popped him in the mouth. I've done it a few times because he was disrespectful. But I will never forget, I used to get so mad at him. And then I had that realization of, I've taught him this. Like,
Right.
He's just sarcastic. I can't punish him for that. So it was a long time of teaching him sarcasm, but there's a time where you cross the line into disrespect.
Right.
You can't do that. You
Yeah.
just can't do that. So yeah,
For sure.
and that's all my kids. That's all of my kids.
Yeah. Cool. Well, hey, we're coming to the end of our time here. So, Lisa, it's been super fun having you on and talking about sarcastic
Thanks
things
for
and
having me.
Seinfeld things, and we definitely hope that that the heat starts working soon.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's been a comfort for sure, being stuck at home, having warm water, and I will be so much more thankful for it after hearing your story.
Yeah, it's not been fun.
Yeah. Cool. Well, any closing thought from either of you? We're all churchy people here. Do you have a word for us?
Hey, before she gets to the word,
Sure.
Hey, don't forget the giveaway going on, Honeybee Coffee.
I will
Coffee.
post about that. I forgot to post about that yesterday.
What is it? I didn't know about that. What is it?
So it's a mug, a shirt, and a bag of coffee from Honeybee. If you share the page and tag Honeybee Coffee, and I can't remember all the rules. There's
yeah,
something in there. I don't know.
I'll post.
We're
the
gonna give
rules
some people
over
some
here.
merch.
Gotcha.
So what we've done is to help support local community is we're not asking for them. We're not going into businesses and asking for them. We're going in and buying and purchasing things that they have and doing them as giveaways. And that way they get some advertising, which is what they're after. And then secondly, we get to help do what we do. So,
Cool.
so
I like that.
instead of, I mean, so often that people go into businesses, I've experienced it, asking for something for free that they can either give away or make profit on or something like that. And it's, we're trying to give them attention instead of taking it away from them. So
Yeah,
that's it.
Sure. For sure.
And a little bit of getting our own attention. No denying that. Like we're not. Yeah, I mean, like, let's put it out there.
Well, we have a Patreon page as well, and I said yesterday, like, this is capitalistic, of course, but we are also, if anyone wants to donate to the Patreon page, we're giving half of it away to Second Harvest. So there's some fun things, like if you look on the page, like if you give, I'm going to say this one every time, if you give $50 and it's on a month-to-month basis, Paul will do a TikTok dance for his TikTok.
He's not asked me to do this.
Nope.
He has just made it.
Oh, you love it. You love TikTok.
I do love TikTok. I am not denying
you
it.
do.
I got
So do all your friends in China.
You know what? I'm all right with it. It's okay. All my friends in China, and then I'm popular in
They're
middle
all
school
following
again.
you.
So
So
finally,
all
I'm
middle school
popular in
girls
middle school.
and the Chinese, they love you.
Listen,
You're like David Hasselhoff in Germany.
I have flat out said, oh, that's the Hoff. I think you've heard the story, Asher. I know you have because I've said it, but Lisa may have not heard this. I was walking in to get the 8th grader out of the middle school, and a girl walked out with her father and went, "I know you." And I was like, "No, you don't. You don't know me at all." And then we had to explain to him that it was because of TikTok. And then he went, "Okay," and just walked out.
What's TikTok? Yeah.
No, he knew what it was. He knew what it was. So, but anyway,
All right.
It is interesting. Yeah. So, anyways,
Cool. Well, Lisa, again, thanks so much for joining us. And
Thank you.
yeah, we hope
Appreciate it.
we hope to do it in the future.
What's
for
my
sure.
word?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What's the word?
sign it
Oh,
off.
It can be one
okay,
word, too.
Something I've learned.
Cool.
One word. No, something I've learned. This whole check on your neighbor, I kind of blew it off like, oh, whatever. Like all my neighbors are fine. I'll email them. But you know what? I've had 3 people call me to check on me, and I was actually very warm and fuzzy afterwards. So that's my advice. Check on people, call them, because, especially your extrovert friends, they're not doing okay right now.
Right. That's why we're doing this. Since we're not
Yeah.
okay, we need it.
That's why I'm going to go stand in line at Costco, because I don't really need to go into Costco, but it gives me an opportunity to talk to people.
Yeah, there you go.
So I'm going to go stand in line to get into Costco today.
Cool. Sounds good. All right. Well, we will tune in with everybody tomorrow.